All right, I'm with the NABF super middleweight champion, Steven So Cold Nelson, undefeated 17-0. Got a big fight in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada this weekend against Lewis Rose. How you doing? So cool. So cold.
Yes, sir. I'm doing great, man. Just ready to get back in there. I'm excited and looking forward to put on a great show, man, because it's been a long time.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that here in a bit. Now, you're up in Omaha, which is where you're from. You're with Team Crawford, Team Bomac. How long has that relationship been going on? I mean, obviously you're homegrown, right, like Bud?
Yeah. Since I started boxing, I started boxing late though. I started boxing when I was in the military. I was 21 years old. And I grew up with Bud, around the neighborhood and everything and hanging out with him. And he was known for boxing, but I never boxed, never went to a gym or anything. But when I joined the military, I was like, I just want to do something different to work out, to stay in shape. And I went to a local boxing gym, started boxing, and within the first couple of weeks, the coach was like, "Man, you're good. It's your first time boxing." Yeah. He's like, "Man, yeah, like you're a natural." And I started competing and training full time. And the first person I called was Bud. I called Bud like, "Hey, I'm boxing now, man. We got to get some work together." He was like, "Nah, man, you ain't ready yet, man. You ain't ready for me yet, dude. It's a whole different level." I was like, "Man, trust me, man. I'm beating up everybody out here, man. I get in there with you." I was like, "You too small." So I went back home and sparring for the first time, and it was totally different level, but that motivated me. And within a year coming back, he's seen a humongous growth, big growth in me, because I was like, I gotta get to that level. And I'm the type of person where if I put my mind to something, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna perfect it. I'm gonna figure out what I need to do to get to a certain level.
I mean, it must have been shocking for someone like Bud, who, grew up in the amateur ranks, had a successful amateur career, and then to see his old friend just take up boxing so late. I mean, it must have just been shocking.
Yeah, he said to me all the time. I mean, the last time we talked, we sat down. He's like, man, you gonna motivate me, man. You motivate me. This is a couple months ago. He's like, you motivate me, man, because like anything you want to do, you do it, man. You do it, and you not only do it, you great at it. He said, and that's always inspiring to me. So like I know that he always be like, man, like this dude came a long ways, man. And I'm just that type of person where, like I said, if I want to do something, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna do it. But they call me so cold because like everything I do, I'm so cold at. I do everything. If I don't do it, because I don't care to do it. But anything that I want to do, I do it.
I love that nickname, by the way, and to hear the reason behind it. I've been really into the nicknames, like the Iron Mike. I just interviewed the Filipino Flash recently. I know the Body Snatcher, Mike McCallum. So your nickname is right up there. So cold.
Yeah, because I tell people that it's not a real nickname unless somebody else gives it to you. Because a lot of people, they make their own nicknames, like a cool name. The Titan, whatever. You know what I mean? They always make their own name, something that sounds cool. But I was given a name because teammates, they seen my gloves and I had my initials on them, SCN, Stephen Cole Nelson. And somebody was like, "Who is SCN?" I was like, "Oh, those mines." It's like, SCN, that stand for? And another one of my teammates came out of nowhere and was like, "It probably stands for So Cold Nelson, because he's so cold at everything he do." I was like, that's catchy. I just stuck with it.
Yeah, that works. I lost you there. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, So one of your teammates, was that one of your military teammates giving you
Yeah,
that?
yeah. He was like, man, he's so cold at everything he do. So that's what we gonna start calling him.
And what branch were you in, Stephen?
I was Army.
The Army. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
And what made you go into the Army? What kind of triggered that?
Because here in Omaha, I was raised in North Omaha, which is like the poverty-stricken area. It was bad, gang violence, and I grew up right in the heart of it. And you know, and just naturally, all my friends and the people I grew up with and my cousins, they were all like gang affiliated. So of course, I'm going to, hang out with them, and I'm gonna pick up the same thing. And I look up, and I'm a teenager, and I'm getting in fights and getting shot at and getting jumped, and this stuff going on. It got to the point where my own family didn't want to be around me because it was always something. So I was like, man, like I didn't have no college scholarship. I didn't have family live out of town and stuff. But everybody was like, man, you're talented, you're smart. Like, why are you around here just wasting your time? You're gonna end up being just like everybody else. And everybody around me was getting, shot and killed and locked up. And it was going to happen. It eventually was going to happen. And it got to the point where it was. And I needed to make a move fast. And one day I was working out with my uncle. And this whole week I was just thinking like, man, I need to get out of here because something happened. I think I got jumped, and it got back to my family. And he was talking to me like, man, you need to get out of here, man. You need to go join the military. I was like, oh, it clicked in my head. That's the best opportunity for me to get out of here because it's going to get me away from here. It's going to give me that discipline. I'm going to get paid, and I'm going to get opportunities that I won't get to sticking around here. So right when he said that, a couple days later, I went to go sign up for my recruiter. And the recruiter, he set me down, and you could tell he seen like a troubled kid coming there, pants sagging. He was kind of blowing me off. He said, here, just take this test. And I took the test, and 2 days later, he called me back, and he was excited, and his whole demeanor towards me changed up. He was like, man, this is one of the best test scores I've ever seen.
Wow.
He's like, man, come in the office, man. He took me out to eat. He was just treating me like gold. Take me out to eat. He took me down to the courthouse to see, like, I had a couple things on my record, like driving tickets and suspensions, and I think an assault charge or something. He went and he got him expunged. Like, hey, come on, we gotta get this guy. He was so. I signed up, and I got one of the best jobs you can get in military, which was satellite communications. And within 2 weeks, I was gone. I was shipped out. I shipped out before my 19th birthday. I think it was May 20th I left.
What year was that?
2007.
Wow. Wow. So the Army, in a sense, may have saved your life, it sounds like.
It did. I can't even say maybe. It did. Like the things that I learned, the places I've seen. I never met my father, so the military was my dad. It took me from being a little boy, and it made me become a man fast, because in the military, you can't, it's not like a parent that's saying, hey, come on, you got to do this and do that. And you're like, oh, whatever. Okay. You have to, because your life is on the line. Other people's life is on the line. So when I went to the military, I went to basic training. I went to AIT, which is where you learn your job. As soon as AIT, I went to airborne school for a couple weeks, left airborne school, went straight to my unit. I'm in for a year, only been in for a year, and all of it was training for that whole year. As soon as I got to my unit was like, hey, we're getting deployed. We're deployed. If you can, You get a 4-day pass to go visit your family, but we leaving. I got to my unit like June 9th. I was gone June 21st.
Wow.
Over, so I had to grow up. I couldn't like, and then being in Afghanistan, it showed me a different part of life, like a different view. It had a different view on life, like because I felt like in America we're spoiled compared to going to third world countries like that. And it's like they're rich is living like our blue collar people here.
Yeah.
Or they're poor is building their houses out of bricks and mud.
Wow. Did you see combat, Steve?
Yeah, that's what I was in Afghanistan. I was right in the trenches.
Yeah.
My first unit was special forces. I was with the special forces unit. So we're over there, and as soon as I got there, the first day I got there, we had to go and do a ceremony for 4 people that just got killed the day before. So it's like I'm just thrown into battle like with only a year of experience of training, and it's like, okay, go. This is it. Go. Like, oh man,
Wow.
this is real life, you know. And then every night, been sleep in my room, and you hear sirens, boom, boom. You hear bombs going on. You gotta get up and go to the bunker every night, you know. So just seeing all this stuff and then going out on missions, and seeing the things I've seen, like that stuff will either you sink or you swim. And I've always been the type of person where I'm a swim. Whatever you throw me in, I'm a swim. I'm gonna figure something out, because it's like, who else gonna, say, nobody's gonna save you. You gotta get out there and you gotta get it.
Yeah. Yeah. I've spoken to Jamel Herring, your former stablemate, before.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have probably shared a lot of stories being overseas.
I mean, honestly, when you see those things and you experience them with another veteran, it's kind of like, you guys know. It's like and we just not going to like step and like open up old scars and old visions and views. Gotcha. And stuff. So it's like when other people talk about it, we'll put our 2 cents in, but just me and him, we don't be like, hey man, I remember I was over there, this happened. Like, we don't really, because it's like, why, bring up what's understood don't have to be explained, basically.
Right. No, that makes sense. And like boxing, and I'm sure for a guy like Bud, for example, and a lot of guys that grow up in the tough neighborhoods like yourself, boxing has saved a lot of people. You obviously went to the military route, but what did that military experience do for you in just being in the boxing world now? Because boxing's one of the toughest things to do, outside of the military.
So the military saved my life and gave me opportunities, but I'm using boxing as an avenue to do the things that I want to do in this world when it comes to the community, people, in myself and my family. Like, I'm using boxing as a platform to get the following, to get the finances, apply myself to something and stay dedicated towards something. I feel like even though I was in the military, a lot of things in boxing is one of the toughest things I've done in boxing, because it's not only mentally, it's physically as well. And it's like, to me, it's an art too. So it binds everything with me all in one. Being an athlete, being smart, being artistic, and then having the heart to grind things out. making weight and everything. Like it's not easy at all. Sometimes, but dang, I should have been a doctor.
Well, you're a pretty damn good boxer, though, and considering when you started and to become the NABF champ, super middleweight champ, is pretty impressive. But you know, you mentioned, you know, and as I mentioned too, you know, people coming off the street, and I've seen it a lot. I mentioned Richard Steele. He has a gym in Vegas, keeping kids off the street, and I know, you know, Team Crawford and all you guys there in Omaha do the same. But it sounds like the military is what kind of gives you that discipline and kind of that focus, right? When you're in the ring, when you're dealing with adversity.
Yeah. Being in the military, you know, the focus is nobody's for themselves. You know, when one person fails, the whole team fails. So even though boxing is an individual sport, I look at it like the same way, because there's a lot of people who is counting on me when it comes to my coaches, you know, the kids that look up to me, my family, you know, everybody. I feel like my choices and my decision and my grind affects other people around me that is counting on me.
Mm. Yeah. And, you know, just kind of playing on that so cold you mentioned at the beginning, and I've heard a lot of fun stuff about you too. And just, you're a man of many interests, right? You love boxing and everything you take on, you know, you said you do well. Cooking, sewing, painting. Where does all that come from?
Like all through life, of stuff. I know I knew a couple other things. One of my biggest things that I love doing is carpentry. I love creating and building things from scratch. And, you know, I cut hair. Last year when I sustained my injury, one of my lifelong goals was to become a pilot. So I went to pilot school. And I was flying. I got about 23 hours. But once I got back to training, you know, I set it to the side, but I'm gonna get back to it and finish my 40 hours so I get my license. But it's just all through life. Like if I see somebody do something and it's interesting, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I can't do that. That's cool. Or get jealous of them. I'm like, you know what? He doing it. That means I can do it. He got 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes. He got the same thing as me. I just got to figure out what it is and how to do it. And I just always been like that. Like, I'm going to figure it out. Even if I have to copy you and see and mock you and see what you're doing to be good at what you're doing. You know?
Yeah. What do you like to cook? What's your best meal?
Man, people ask me all the time. I'm one of them people that if I crave it, I'm gonna make it. I feel like there's nothing in this world that can cook. It's so simple. It's like one thing I love is science and chemistry and stuff like that. And that's all cooking is once you figure out the basics of how everything makes and what reacts to what, you understand that almost everything is pretty much the same. You just got to prepare it differently or have a different taste to it. But I was pescatarian for 5 years. I just recently started back eating meat. But when I was pescatarian, I used to make a lot of seafood. Like, I love seafood. Yeah, I love seafood. But I think one of my best dishes is my spaghetti.
Oh yeah.
My spaghetti or my jambalaya is good. Meatloaf. My meatloaf is very good.
Spaghetti is about the only thing I can make. So
my Alfredo from scratch is great.
Well, I need to come visit you up in Omaha one of these days. So cold.
Yeah.
I need to share a meal with you. One of your meals. And you also design, I mentioned sewing, but you also design your own ring outfits.
Yeah, I actually started doing that after my first fight. I paid a guy to make my uniform, and he didn't deliver it. He played me, and ever since then, I was like, you know what? I'm never going to have this issue anymore. I'm going to start doing myself. And I started making my own uniforms. And 17-0, I have 16 uniforms that I've made.
How long does it take to make one?
It doesn't take long. I can make a whole uniform in 3 days if I stuck to that.
Wow. Well, you got a whole.
And that's 3 days. And that's in between my training sessions too. It'd take 3 days. But say if I didn't have to train nothing, I could probably knock it out in 1 day.
It sounds impressive to me. I don't know what it takes. I wouldn't even know where to start, but that sounds pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Listen, let's talk about real quick. And I think I saw this fight, but you fought, was it Derek Finley in the brutal heat in Omaha 2019?
Oh, yeah.
Talk about that, the ring entrance and coming into that fight.
I think that fight I came in as Apollo Creed, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, I was Apollo Creed for that one. And it's a couple of characters that I've come out as the bad guy.
Were you a Rocky fan?
Yeah, I was a Rocky fan, but it seemed like the most memorable people in the movies was always the bad guy. Just like in The Last Dragon, I don't know if you ever heard of or seen it. Shown Up. I came out as Shown Up one time because nobody would recognize the main character because he didn't have like a costume or a crazy look. It's the same thing with Apollo Creed. Like everybody remember Apollo Creed with the big hat and the dance and stuff and the dance and the music. Like, so that's why I chose that one.
Well, as Stacy said, you truly are a Renaissance man. Does she tell you that all the time, huh? That's funny. Well, listen, let's talk about what you got coming this Saturday. And I think people that see this interview are going to love to hear your background because, you have been in the shadows a little bit, being under the pound for pound top fighter in the world, one of the top fighters in the world in Bud Crawford, which is not a bad shadow to be in. But you're creating your own little niche there in Omaha. You're fighting Lewis Rose. He's 17-3, 7 knockouts. What do you know about Lewis, Stephen, and what problems does he present?
He's a good boxer, a good counter puncher. So that's what you got to watch for with counter punches like that, especially when they're just relaxed and don't seem like they're doing nothing. They can come out of nowhere with a counter punch that can, mess the whole night up. So, I just have to go in there and be me, and have fun and do what I've been doing. Especially coming back from this injury, I've been out of the scene for 20 months.
And what was the injury again, for those that don't recall?
I tore my Achilles. I was just training one day and I was just moving around. It's this pop, loud pop. Everyone like, what was that sound? But I just, like I said, I do a lot of stuff. So I was always so busy and moving around and not resting my body and not stretching and just think I just go in the gym and just start training, and training hard and leaving and going and do some other stuff and moving around and come back to the gym, no rest. So it just took a toll on me.
You feel good? You feel 100% now?
Yeah, I feel 100%. I just, start moving smarter, start myself, start, warming up and stretching and resting and doing what I got to do to recover, because just like a car, you can't just go drive a car for for a whole lot of time and not change the oil or, change the brakes and stuff like that. You got to take care of it. So I treat my body the same way.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then we'll wrap it up here in a minute. Jeff Zimmerman, fightnews.com. I'm with the NABF super middleweight champ, Steven So Cold Nelson. Got one of the best nicknames in all of boxing. I'm saying that right now. Now, you're in a loaded division. I know you've campaigned at light heavy as well, but are you super middle these days?
Super middle. This next fight, I fight heavyweight because my first fight coming back, and I'm coming down from 235. So I'm just taking my time. And after this fight, I go back down to 168 and fight for a title again.
I mean, you are built like Mike Tyson. That's one thing I've always noticed about you. You're so compact. So 230, you get up to 230, which is heavyweight, and you get all the way down to super middle.
Yeah. I was 235 February 10th.
Is that because of the injury that you got that high, or is that typical?
Yeah, I think about it because I haven't, since I've been boxing, since I started boxing in 2010, I've been consistent. I've been training. I've been, on an international team in the amateurs, on an Olympic team. I've been consistently training for 12 years. And take that injury and this, and not be able to do nothing. Mm-hmm. I try my best. I was making smart eating choices, but I didn't train for 7-8 months.
Right.
Training, so it took a toll on my body, and started back training back in October, and I was scheduled for January. And then January changed to February and March and April and May. But I was glad that I was pushed because I probably wouldn't have been ready. Mm-hmm. I thought the weight was going to come right off like it usually do, because I didn't keep in mind that I was off for 8 months, but it was sticking. It didn't come off as easy this time.
Gotcha. So you'll be at light heavyweight this Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay. And let me ask you, so I mentioned, you're in a loaded weight class, whether you're at light heavy or super middle. You just saw Canelo against Bivol, go up to light heavy and lost by most accounts pretty convincingly. What were your thoughts on that fight? And when do you, or how do you get into that pecking order to get a shot at the title?
For that, things like that, I'm very observative, so I pay attention to a lot, and it didn't surprise me that Canelo took a loss, because none of us are Superman, you know what I mean? So I figured, I'm like, man, like Bivol was like a big Triple G. He had trouble with Triple G at 160. Now this guy is bigger and be able to take his punches, so I was not surprised at all. And for me, I just had to stay consistent, and not look ahead. Oh, I want to fight Canelo now. I'll focus on these fights and build my name and get into the place where I can, like, man, I'm ready for these big fights. I mean, I want these big fights now, but I have to be realistic.
Right. So maybe in 2023, you think you'll get a shot at the title?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, by that time, I'm like, shoot, by the end of this year, I want to be in the talks like, hey, this guy, it's time for him a title shot. I want to at least 2-3 times this year, by the end of this year, then, put myself back in those rankings.
Great. That'd be great to see. Now, let me end it here, or two more questions real quick. Obviously, we talked about Bud. You guys are buds, grew up together, super close friends. The fight that everyone's been waiting for in all of boxing, and you know where I'm going with this, is Bud and Errol Spence Jr. Now, I probably don't need to ask you who you think is going to win, but I do want to ask you, are you as excited to see that fight as everybody else? And how do you see it, just the strategies, playing out?
Man, I've been waiting for years for it. And I've been telling people for years what was going to be the outcome, because I feel like Spence, good guy, I know him. I was on 2012 Olympic team with him. I was a training partner and everything, and nothing against him, but I just feel like he has one speed. He has one way to come in a fight. And now you have somebody who has 5 to 6 different ways to come to a fight, which is Bud. He can switch it up. He can go speed. He can go power. He can counter punch. He can go forward. He can fight backwards. He switch. So he has so many things he's bringing to the table compared to Spence. And I feel like the first 4 or 5 rounds, it'd be a nice competitive fight. And then after that, Bud's gonna, separate himself.
All right. Well, you heard it from Steven So-Called Nelson. He's got a big fight this Saturday night on the undercard of Janibek-Dignum on ESPN at the Resorts World Event Center at Resorts World Las Vegas. Try to say that 3 times fast. And looking to come back after a bad injury, but ready to get back into it. Got a lot behind him. And man, I really appreciate you doing this. I'm excited to see you back in the ring, and I wish you nothing but success.
Thank you.
All right. Good luck this Saturday.
Okay. You have a good day.
You too.